Welcome to Walker Talk, brought to you by Barely Sober News. This week's episode of The Walking Dead, Season 7, Episode 2, called The Well. My name is George Pecoraro, and with me is Christopher Jokas.
What's going on, guys? I'm back again.
This week we got introduced to the kingdom. We met King Ezekiel and Shiva. Carol's acting like she's innocent again. Morgan is teaching some Aikido. So this week, Chris, what'd you give the rating of this episode?
I'm going to give this one pretty low for my standards. I'm giving it a 5.7.
Damn. I'm giving it like a 7.2.
Really?
I think it was such a
fresh
breath of fresh air. Just like, it was so like enjoyable to watch. I really enjoyed like King Ezekiel and like Shiva and like the whole thing. And I mean, you got some like interesting things learning from like the saviors and what they did with the pigs.
Okay, all the things that you just mentioned were the highlights of the episode for sure. But it was
enjoyed
so
the
masked.
whole.
It was caked and smothered in more like Carol. Oh, I'm gonna leave.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm pretending to do this. And Morgan, like, oh, am I killing or am I not killing? Oh, I changed my mind. Just like, I don't know, just like typical
You're right,
Walking Dead
it's
bullshit. It's been going on for so long.
It was just left. You're right. It's leftovers. But
Yeah.
I enjoyed the new characters that were introduced, and Jerry, King Ezekiel's like second hand was like it was like this episode was funny. You know what I mean?
It was.
It was a good change up from the week in week out grind of like just drama and like who's gonna die and like zombies and like who's in charge, like Rick's like beaten up and stuff like that. Like it was a good change.
I agreed. I agree with all the positives you're saying, but I just felt like placing of this episode was a little strange. It was like and I think they tried to like, because last week's episode was so dark and like depressing, and then this week was just like funny, but I felt like it was too much of like a transition, and I thought that, and I hate how Walking Dead does this, but they always do this. It's like, we just had like a powerful episode. I want to see where Rick and his people are right now. Like, I don't really give a shit about Carol and Morgan at the moment.
That's the only thing I could think of, or like that I'm upset about, is because, but that's not a Walking Dead thing. I think that's I guess like the teasing part of it. Like when they teased this week's episode, it was Negan coming to Alexandria or knocking on Rick's door, like. You know, you guys don't get it, like, you know what I mean?
They did do that, right? In the teaser?
They teased, like, okay, they showed Ezekiel and the tiger, but they mostly was like, oh, Negan's coming kind of thing, and he wasn't in the episode at all. So, like, I hate when they do that. I feel like they're always just teasing us and, like, kind of playing with us, and that always pisses me off, the things that Walking Dead does in that way.
Yeah, and I don't like when they give us these bottle episodes with only a couple of characters.
Right.
Like, if they're going to do that, that's fine, but just check in with Rick's group. Like, Rick's the main character, and I kind of hate when they, like, stray from him too far. It's weird to have an entire episode, and sometimes they have multiple episodes in a row. It's like, I want to kind of know what Rick's doing. Like, he's the person we started this show with, and I want to follow, like, his story. That being said, so I thought the placement was a little weird, and, like, taking away from Rick was, like, a little weird. But, like I said before, it's also a lot of just like, I'm so sick of, like, I don't care, Carol, just fucking leave then. Like, you're back and forth trying to leave for like 3 seasons now. Same thing with Morgan. I don't care about their storylines anymore. Like, I liked seeing Ezekiel, I liked seeing Shiva and the new characters at this new place. I thought that was all fun, but like, it sucked that it had to be with Morgan and Carol. I wish it was like Rick that showed up there. You know? I don't know. That's just like, personally for me, I just don't care about these side characters and their side problems anymore.
No, it makes sense. I mean, does that like happen in the comic books? Like, because I don't read them. You know it. You know. I mean, better.
It all plays out differently in the comics. But it's like a little weird in the comics too. Like I don't think they ever really even show the kingdom too much. Like maybe like they go there once or twice, but they don't really show it too much at all. So we definitely got like a better look at it in the show so far.
They did put a whole medieval times thing spin on it, but it was more fun. They had fun with the episode and making the kingdom. So you could see
They
that, and
did.
that's what makes me enjoy the episode. You know what?
Yeah.
So what'd you think of last week? The season one
I
with Negan
thought
and the killing.
I thought last week's episode was like as itself. I thought it was like almost perfect. Like really, I was in a lot of suspense I didn't like expect to be. Like by the time that Negan was making Rick like chop off Carl's arm, I was actually like, shit, that might even happen. Like I don't even
Yeah,
fucking know at this point.
I
And
believed it.
The Walking Dead hasn't made me feel that way in so long. Like I actually felt like anyone could die again. But I'm gonna stick to my words, man. I still think the cliffhanger was bullshit
Yeah, I think it's
because
bullshit too.
that episode felt like it was attached to last season.
Right.
So, like, I don't know. I think it doesn't work overall. I think it should have been the season finale of last season.
Mm-hmm.
And but other than that, I mean, getting past that, I did like the episode a lot more than I thought I was going to.
Right. So, all right. So then let's get back to this week. How do you feel like King Ezekiel? Like he has a deal with the Saviors and Negan, but he's not telling the rest of the kingdom. Like,
Yeah,
I feel like it's a pretty big deal.
yeah, and I like that setup. I thought that was like the main highlight of the episode. I love how they make the pigs eat the zombies.
Right.
And
yeah,
then
they're
before they
bigger
give
this
them off to
time.
them.
Don't
Yeah.
don't
So
worry
it's-
about don't worry about why they're eating them. They're going somewhere else, you know.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. And I like how they tied it in with the saviors. But yeah, they kind of like I feel like they like hit it over the head like a little like too much. Like I kind of got it as soon as those guys showed up and then they were giving the pigs. I was like, oh, like I made all the connections in my head, but I feel like the show, like they spelled everything out for us too. Like they
Right.
continued to actually like say what was going on,
Uh-huh.
which that's a total minor nitpick, but it kind of just like took me out of the moment a little.
Mm-hmm. So, do you think that? I mean, well, Morgan seems like he's pretty happy staying in the kingdom, at least for right now. And Carol's not leaving yet. She's in the house, I guess, down the road.
Right.
Like, is the kingdom and Alexandria like gonna team up? You know, or like, are they gonna come to one big thing? Or
Well, I don't want to get into too many spoilers, but from the comic books, but like so now we have 4 communities that we
Right.
basically know of. We have Alexandria, run by Rick. We have the Hilltop, which is run by that guy, that greasy guy, Gregory.
mm-hmm.
We got the Kingdom with Ezekiel and the Sanctuary with Negan.
Right.
So now we got these 4 communities, and they're kind of all like this is getting into like some Game of Thrones shit now. We got like
Yeah.
different villages and shit, different leaders. So yeah, it definitely this is like a change for The Walking Dead, and we're gonna see some things that we probably haven't seen at all so far, and like the way these leaders deal with each other, and basically now we're
Right.
kind of they all work for Negan, so Negan is like the leader.
It's like there's four towns, there's 4 villages now, but it's all pretty much it's all in Negan's pocket.
Right.
He has control over all of them, and I'm hoping Rick, doesn't let that last for too long.
Yeah, well, I'm really curious to see how the show plays this out. To be honest, I mean, we already know like Rick's kind of screwed. Like after last episode, they spent an hour showing us that Rick is broken. Like not broken, but like he definitely is like, oh shit, I guess I have to follow Negan, right? So I'm curious to see how many episodes that's gonna last. Let's
Right.
put it that way. Is this going to be like a whole season? Are they going to stretch it out, or are they going to like cram it in? Like I don't know. It should be. It's exciting though because it's like a different tone for the show that it hasn't taken yet.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, but it's a feel good. It was a feel good episode. I feel like for today. I don't know, like, I feel like watching it last week, I was just like it was aggravating, and it just left me with a bad taste in my mouth.
For sure, it definitely did. But I mean, that's why I felt like it should have been the finale, just because it would have like capped off that storyline, and yeah, it would have left us feeling like uncomfortable. But it was weird as like a premiere. Like I feel like
Yeah,
premieres are supposed to get you like going, get you hyped.
right. And I feel
I
like
don't
that
know.
would have been this episode. This episode 2 should have been, I guess, episode 1, and it would have got you hyped for, I
Yeah,
guess, the kingdom.
they would have needed to add like a bigger action piece in it, but yeah, pretty much.
Right. I mean, I guess when next week, if we do see Rick, I'm sure we will see Rick and Negan and them. Like, I feel like that taste is gonna come right back into my mouth. Like seeing Rick's face, just like I'm not in charge, and like he's like depressed, and like he doesn't know what to do.
Well, I think next week, based off the teaser, is going to be all about Daryl. So
Oh, right.
it's kind of doing that thing where it's like it's just going to go like one episode's about Morgan and Carol, then the next episode's all about Daryl, and then who knows? We haven't seen Tara and Heath in a
Right.
while because they were on like another mission, so that's
Of
going to be like
course.
probably another episode about them too, and we probably won't see Rick again until like fucking mid-season finale at this
So
point.
pretty much what we're saying is we're gonna get nothing's gonna happen in this first half of the season 7. Like we're just gonna get like little bits of story.
Yeah,
Because if they're
it's
so
possible.
spread out, there's so many villages.
It's possible. I mean, I think that's another thing that I rated this episode low for is like the plot didn't really move too much. I mean,
Right.
they started off there and they ended there, and nothing new kind of happened. I mean, we introduced new characters. It's all great, but like,
Yeah, I
the
guess
end of
we
the
said
day.
this. We said this things before. Like they could have done this at that episode in a half hour.
yeah, I honestly think they should have spent the first half of this episode like doing everything that they did in this episode, kind of crunch it down to a half hour, and then do the second half following up with Rick's group. Like, and I don't know. I mean,
Or even
they could have had Rick's group just show up to the doctor at the hilltop, and Maggie get the medicine she needs and everything. And I don't know, just like I just want to get these things like moving and out of the way because I know we're gonna have to see that at some point anyway. Might as well
Right.
fucking like get it going.
You're right. That's the whole Walking Dead thing. They just tease us, and they don't want to move. They want people. I feel like a lot of fans they want to see zombie kills. They want to see character development. Instead, we just want to see a storyline that's moving.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely want to see some zombie kills and shit too. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just being like extra negative on this episode, but I just feel like
I think
I
you're
don't
just
want
still
it-
on the cliffhanger anger. You know what I mean?
yeah,
You're just still angry.
no, I just don't want to be dragged another 8 hours of my life through like, oh, is Carol gonna leave? Like, oh, is Morgan gonna kill again? Like the same. Like now, Daryl's gonna be a pouty mess for like. It's just like the same shit recycled over and over again. With just
Right.
like,
Same thing.
I don't know. It's the same thing.
So what's the deal with Daryl's got like was an A on his shirt and stuff like he's like like he's a prisoner.
Oh, and
He's
from
like
the
a
teaser.
slave kind
From
of
the
thing.
teaser.
A what?
From the teaser.
Yeah.
Are you talking about? Yeah. So it looks like they're keeping him in like a prison cell almost, and then
But he's like marked up like a prisoner too. He's not just in a prison cell.
I didn't really notice. But yeah, I mean, I think like what Negan said he likes him. I don't know if he's going to try to turn him into one of his like loyal men or something. I don't know. I have no idea where that could really be going. All I know is that Daryl and Dwight have kind of history with each other, and now they're going to both be in the same location. So that's kind of interesting. Dwight still has Daryl's crossbow too, so I wonder if he's
Right.
going to like get it back from him. They keep going back and forth with that fucking crossbow.
Oh my god, they're teasing us with that whole thing too. Right. So what about let's just go back real quick. Do you think Carol goes back to the kingdom or she's going to go meet up with Rick?
I'm okay with her living in that like little house down the road for a while. I don't know. She's just like, what is she doing there? Who cares? I don't even care anymore. She's like,
Yeah.
you know what pisses me off? I'll tell you why it pisses me off. It's because they kind of established over, I don't know, the first 3 seasons of this show that like no matter what, they're a tight knit group. Like they survived so much shit together that they were family, and they like made a point of that. And I think around season 3, it kind of like was the first time they started showing that. And now it's like season 7, and like, come on, Carol, like, why would you like turn your back on everyone? Just
Right.
as like, come on, what are you doing?
She's always toying with that like herself and her connection to the group and whether she's gonna run or not. She's
Yeah.
ran several times.
Yeah, she's ran. I mean, and she always she always runs and ends up in a wheelchair for some reason. Remember, she was in the wheelchair at the hospital when she ran, and she ended up with Beth. Now she's in a wheelchair at the Kingdom.
Right. She's and she's constantly doing that innocent act and pretending like she's just like a simple Southern girl.
Yeah,
just
but
trying to survive.
That's what I'm talking about. I feel like we've seen all this stuff before, and then
it was cool to see her do that initially with King Ezekiel, but then you're right, she was kind of doing it through the whole episode. I'm like she's like rolling around in the wheelchair. I'm like, she doesn't need the wheelchair, she's faking it. Stealing the knife, stealing clothes, stealing food. And, King Ezekiel called her out on it.
So I got a question for you. Do you think there's any romance potential between King Ezekiel and Carol?
Nah. No, I think
they spent a significantly
we always
long
talk
scene.
about romances with Carol, like Daryl's got a romance with Carol. Like,
I'm just
who's
saying,
got a romance? Like,
they spent a significantly long scene of them like outside in the dark, like on a bench together in the firelight.
Are we talking to Queen Carol going here?
Oh, it's possible, man. Anything is possible. And he talked to her like off the ledge a little bit,
And
like
he came to her front door with a pomegranate.
That's for damn sure.
You're right. He's trying to get in her pants. I don't know. Like, Carol gets close with a lot of people, and I don't ever see her having an intimate relationship.
Well, she did with the one guy at Alexandria, but then he died, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I mean, I'm sure King Ezekiel really likes Carol because she's probably the first person to call him out on his bullshit about how he's faking it and how he was just a zookeeper and he was just an actor or like doing like plays.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he's attracted to that she's not fooled by him. But like, I don't know. I don't see. I see her being by his side, being a part of his men and his group, but I don't see them having a relationship.
It's pretty funny. Like, Morgan and Carol show up. They're outsiders. They're new people at this kingdom, and already Morgan knows the secret about the saviors, and Carol knows the secret about him just being a zookeeper and like a bullshit artist. It's like, damn, you fucking trusted both these new people pretty fast.
But they are trusting people, though, don't you think? They put that whole persona and acting like, we're just trying to make. You could see it in their faces.
I know, but he doesn't even tell his own people these things. And like, he just tells these two outsiders.
Well, I think King Ezekiel also knows that they've been out there. They know that what's out there.
Yeah,
I think he is really.
He knows he can't bullshit
sheltering
them because,
his people.
Right. Yep. That's for sure. It's pretty like they're probably like one of the smarter communities we've seen too, because they actually wear like armor. Mm-hmm. And they have swords and spears and shit and horses.
They look when they charged with the horses to save Carol, Morgan, and the other two people from the kingdom. They knew what they were doing.
Oh yeah!
Like immediately, they cleaned out all of them with the horses and cleaned them out like it was no big deal. So like they're prepared. They're probably the most prepared group out of all of them.
There was that one zombie kill, probably the most gruesome of the episode, where the guy just like chopped the zombie's face off.
I usually not into the zombie kills parts of the show, and I actually really like that one. I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy.
He got his face cut off. I don't know. That was like the only one after almost going into 7 seasons. Is the only one I actually enjoyed.
I've liked a few. Yeah, I'm not as into like. I don't go as crazy for like the zombie kills as like some people do. Like most of the time, I feel like they just like go over the top with trying to show like the coolest way to kill a zombie and like whatever. But yeah, that one was pretty cool. There's been a couple other cool ones,
and that was just such a simple one too.
Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been Walker Talk, brought to you by Barely Sober News, reviewing season 7, episode 2 of The Well. With The Walking Dead. I'm George Pecoraro, and with me is Christopher Jokas. Check us out on Twitter and Instagram at Barely Sober News. We'll see you next week on Walker Talk. And always remember, keep in hollering distance. Deuces!